What's going on, and welcome to the Stick Drift Podcast, a podcast for all things cars, racing games, motorsports, and more. Unfortunately, this video and podcast bugged. The one, it comes in really late for some reason. It's not too late, but it comes in right after the intro. The intro's already been running a bit. And also, eventually, most of the audio is completely fine. Eventually, though, it decays to a point where it's all just crackling. So you've been robbed of the end of the gaming segment and the motorsports segment, unfortunately. But the rest of the podcast is fine. But, yeah, have had those issues there with the recording. Just doing a whole big weird. I don't know why it did a big weird. I don't know how I'm going to stop it doing a big weird in the future. But it's done a big weird. And, I don't really know what to do, so I'm just gonna send it and enjoy. And then, the thing was, we missed a week, but even though, as that week went by and I realized I wasn't gonna be able to get an episode out, I was like, nothing has happened. If we got on and filmed an episode last week, it would have been us just umming and ahhing the whole hour and a half. I don't know if the listeners even want to bother with something like that. It would have been no news, because there was nothing. There was...
I think one of the topics had been announced. But,
yeah. So we would have had like one topic, and I didn't even have like a strange racing genres topic that I had last time we didn't have much news. So it would have just been one topic, and then there wasn't even anything in the gaming segment. This time around, in just that week that has gone from last to this week, we have gotten, Joshua, so many concepts. So, two massive brand new car reveals. One shouldn't exist. The other one looks like it shouldn't exist. In the gaming side of it, we've got massive leaks, and we've got we've got one update which is massively teased, and one update which is massively leaked. And we've got motorsports. I don't think we have motorsports. I mean,
yeah, there's been 2 F1 races and 2
there you go.
MotoGP races, but yeah.
Well, we've got motorsports when we get onto that as well. This episode of the Stick Drift Podcast is packed to the brim with so much going on. So we probably might not even discuss some of it too intensely. Some of it might be in the coming episodes, but we've got a lot to go through. What's going on? And welcome back to the Stick Drift Podcast, a podcast for all things car culture, racing games, and motorsports. And things have blown up in the side of concepts. And
I mean, Elon Musk has also struck again.
Yeah,
Embeds don't work on Twitter anymore.
So
Not
we
on Twitter,
already...
on Discord.
Yep. We already had an issue where the bot we would use to collect the news of the week, that bot stopped working. It just decided it wanted to stop working. And we still haven't managed to get that
the bot
work.
stopped working because the API changes that Twitter made. So you can't just data scrape anymore.
Yeah. So was it part of the was it part of that you can only view 300 tweets this day?
Yeah,
or
basically.
Was it that change? I thought so. I felt about around that time. But we have that issue, so we now can't manage to have a automatically collected news feed. Instead, we have to do it manually, and by that I mean Josh does it manually, and then I put 1 or 2 in there when I find one interesting, and outside of the actual feed. But now we can't even embed. So we have to put the link, and then the image. Elon Musk is an absolute nuisance to this podcast.
This change makes no sense. There's no point to do this.
No, I mean, they tried to do if you didn't have a Twitter account, you couldn't even view a tweet outside of Twitter, they tried to do that at one point, but that obviously got massive backlash as well. So instead they just made it so replies you can't see. Just the biggest of nuisance. The man can't even get a single car model to hit the road, yet he's there revamping the Model 5.5, but he can't get the Cybertruck or the Model Fast one to actually make it to market, and he's too busy.
The truck.
The
Or the lorry.
Oh yeah,
The lorry, the
the
Cybertruck,
the
and the
semi and the.
Roadster are just never going to exist.
But he's too
Basically,
busy
given.
taking a massive dump on Twitter, and it's endless. He even made a change where it was like, embeds now don't show the title of the article on Twitter anymore, and that one was just aesthetics. That one was literally just because he was like, I think it looks better this way. But now you can just post an article that has a picture of anyone or anything, and then say whatever you want in the caption, and then done. That could say anything. And people aren't gonna go and click the article. They'll just see, oh, that tweet is saying this is the thing? Alright. And then continue scrolling. I don't...
Yep. It's so bad.
It's impressively bad. But, this is... You know what? I'm glad Elon Musk is tangentially related to cars, so we can justifiably rant about him on this podcast. But... Speaking of cars, Josh, there has been so many concepts recently. In fact, that right there is the Streamlabs recording the podcast right now, not the concepts. There we go. I'm ready to show
I think
off.
it was the Japanese... It was something mobility show. I think it was the Japanese mobility show.
Is that what it was? Okay.
I would be able to tell if any of the article headlines worked, so...
It makes sense if it was, because then, you know, given the things that were revealed. But we begin with some of the more...
Tokyo Motor Show.
That's what it was. There you go. We begin with some of the more timid stuff, some of the stuff that you'd really know or even have mild care about. What was this thing?
I just thought it's just...
So what is it? What are we looking at?
It's the new Honda Prelude.
So that...
But it's just kind of like a Civic, but it's longer.
I was gonna say it looks like the new Prius is what I was gonna say. The front light at least looks very new Prius. It just looks like a new Prius trying to be a BRZ. I kind of like it actually because it's new Prius being BRZ shape.
Well, I mean, it's a concept, to be fair.
Yeah. Oh, right.
But yeah, it's EV. I mean, it looks like it's ready for production, really.
I was gonna say, yeah.
They brought back the... What was the other one they brought back recently?
Integra?
The Integra, I think it was. Yeah. And that was just a bigger Civic. This looks like an even bigger Civic.
You know what? This thing's pretty good, and it looks
It's just an EV sedan.
Yeah, and out of everything here, this is the only one that I think will make it to market. To be fair, then, if you boys listening know what the Copen looks like, besides being a brilliant...
You severely underestimate how popular the Copen is.
I must do, because I've only started recently noticing this car. I noticed it, and that's only at a car meet, and then once in London yesterday. Like, there's no one can convince me this car sold more than 3.
They still make it currently.
They still make this car?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
The Copen, if you don't know, which apparently all of you must, is like this weird egg-shaped thing, but not like it's... It's like if a child drew a car.
It's a front-wheel drive, small engine. It's a K-car, basically, is what the original was. I don't know if it still is. What's the official dimensions?
There is not a single vertice on this entire car. Everything is rounded. There is not a corner 20 miles around this car. It's actually impressive how unrigid
I mean,
this car
it's
is.
just kind of a small two-door thing.
Yeah, but the Copen, this concept, impressively, is just the car. Like, it's what
It's a very good new take on the Mark 1 Copen.
It's, yeah, like, the lights
It's
are the
just
only thing
a
that looks different to me.
The new Copen doesn't look like this, bear in mind. The new Copen is very angular, so they're remastering the old Copen as an EV, and it's going to look like that, and it's going to be MX-5 sized.
New Copen looks vile, I will say.
Yeah, it looks sort of like the Honda S660, I think is what it was called. The very angular, sort of tiny Japanese car.
Am I looking at something that's real right now? Is this a Copen GR that looks monstrous?
I think that's a concept. They did make a Copen GR.
I was gonna say that looks terrible.
I think
But-
that's just the GR Yaris front bumper on a Copen.
Yeah.
So,
It's similar to me, like the ID2 or something. What was the Volkswagen hatchback that is a newer Golf, but it looks like a fair few generations older Golf refreshed rather than the newest
the
Golf
ID2
refreshed?
concept.
Yeah, I imagine so. It reminds me of that thing. It's like it's not the most recent one redone. It's an older one. But then again, it is just a concept. So this means nothing really. It's cool to see a brand new version of this dated car, I guess. But I think it
Hey,
sucks.
it's so cool, so cool.
Yeah. The next concept on the list. Now, this one, there's actually a fair bit to say about this one because we talked about this one a while ago on the podcast. I don't even know if this one's a concept, but it came out around this at the same time. So, the word was 3 companies were going to be putting their noggins together, right? Just huddling up, clanging them together. And those companies were Toyota. Toyota?
Daihatsu Copen. Daihatsu.
Daihatsu.
And Suzuki. That's the
And
one.
Suzuki. They were going to be
That's a big
coming
deal,
together. And they were going to be, I don't know, what's the anime thing? Fusion Dance? They're gonna be doing that.
Yeah, they do a collaborative emote from Fortnite. And
Exactly. One of them does the emote, and the other 2 join in. And they were going to be making a brand new version of the MR2 that was rumored to be releasing at, like, I want to say something wildly cheap. We talked about this.
£25,000.
£25,000. We talked about this a while ago on the podcast. It was going to be a brand
That was
new...
pre-economy collapsing everywhere. So
Yeah. It was going to be a two-door, two-seater.
it was going to be a new
Sports
MR2,
car.
basically. 2-door, 2-seater, rear engine sports car.
And this is our first look at such an idea.
I think they've scrapped everything to do with that concept except the looks.
You reckon? I mean, this is...
Well, I mean, it's an EV, so Suzuki no longer involved. It doesn't have the removable body panels, so Daihatsu's no longer involved.
Oh.
It's just Toyota, where like 2-door, 2-seater sports car. Here you go.
What is it? The FTSE? Which is a bad...
Horrible name.
It's a terrible name because SE can be pronounced as C, and then it's just the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission is what that is.
They're sticking with the like BZ-4X naming scheme. All their other EV they announced has the same letter dash something else.
Terrible idea. Terrible
horrible
idea.
Horrible.
I see LF-ZL for something.
That might be one of them. I think.
Lexus LF-ZC. This is terrible.
Why have they gone down the naming scheme of just bad?
Quoting Autocar here, one example is making cars with both low central of gravity and spacious interior, which was not possible in the past. We are making EV batteries like only a true car maker can. Yeah, all right.
I think they're doing this to flex their new long-range batteries because they're planning to get ultra-dense batteries to market by 2026 with a 40% range increase.
What are they putting you in the batteries?
Standard.
What are they?
Yeah. If they're paying me, sure, I'll fit a battery. But they're trying to say this will have like a 400-mile range, which...
I mean, that sounds like a lot. Does that not sound like a lot?
That's implying their new batteries work exactly as intended.
And I mean,
they
the
will not.
The issue with EVs... Eventually, they're not 400, is it, anyway? Because it's an EV, it's a lithium battery. Eventually, it's going to die down to what, like... 5-10 years from now, that car's range is going to be, what, like 200, if that? Because, battery decay,
I mean,
naturally.
that's still better than an MR2, I think. So, yeah.
I will say,
it will be £40,000, I guarantee it.
Yeah, economy's a bit of a rough one. I will
They're
say,
dumping all this money into battery development. It's meant to be the flagship of, like, ultra-dense batteries. Ultra-dense new batteries don't sound cheap.
Yeah, it's probably not what it was going to be before is the big thing. Now it's a flagship. It's the... I imagine they can't even shill it as the first EV, though, can they? Because people know about the BZ4ZX now.
They advertise that everywhere. People
exactly,
should know
yeah.
about it by now.
People know about that thing now. So they can't even really advertise this as the big EV that's starting. So it's still got some stigma. but it looks pretty cool. As far as, like, a genre that EVs haven't gone into yet, which is this shape of car, you know, like the Alfa Romeo 4C shape, this shape, I say it's pretty cool.
I do worry what the production one will look like.
Oh, yeah.
Because you've seen how the Mark III and MR2 looks like. And this takes on a very similar platform shape. It's very square. And take this and remove all the expensive angular body designs.
Yeah.
What are you left with?
I mean,
basically a Mark III and MR2.
It's very spread in the front as well. Like, the lights are looking at, like, if you follow the lights backwards, they meet at, like, on 90 degrees. They're facing very, very outwards.
Yeah.
It's very angular. And again, if it comes to market looking like that, it's pretty cool looking. And it fits in its... no, but it fits
You've
in
got to
its
see
genre.
how it's going to be part spinned. The lights will be part spinned off probably GR Yaris or a GR Corolla. It's just going to... But then to fit those, you're going to have to round the front out a lot more, and then yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't decay too hard. I mean, we're still to see, I'd say, a similar genre of car, but not really, because they're way bigger. We're still to see brand new Alpine EV as well, the A110. That thing's going to be existing at some point as well.
They teased that B290. Was it A290? B290? 290.
What was that?
The hatchback.
Oh, the A290, I want to say.
A290, yeah. It's
Yeah.
a phone. Yeah, they showed that and were like, yeah, it exists. And then they've just hidden it away to my arm somewhere because they hadn't showed it again.
Ooh, I don't know when this is from Car Magazine. I don't know what the date on this is, but there's this image, which is allegedly the Alpine A290. This is from 13th...
Or is that just the Renault 5?
That's the point. 13th of September. I mean... It doesn't have center steering, is what it seems. But it hopefully it just looks good. I just want it to look good. It doesn't have the crossed out headlights either anymore. Does still have the Alpine lights, where it's like regular lights and then smaller light in the middle. You can see there they're covered up.
This actually is just an MX-5, not an MX-5.
MX-5.
We're looking at MX-5. It's actually just the Renault 5, but...
Yeah,
with
but
worse
Alpine,
wheels
right?
somehow, which is actually impressive.
What was the other Alpine you said they were making a new one of? Like a different
they're
one.
making a 4-seater, I forget their name is
because I remember
destroys my brain.
I
A110. They're making a 4-seater A110 called the A310, I think. Which sure, and then they're making an electric A110, and then like 4 SUVs.
It was the A310, because again, Alpine, what they've been doing so far is revamping the old design, right? And the old A310 looked like this. So if the new Alpine A310 looks like the A110, if it looks anything like the A110 is to the old Alpine, I think it could still be pretty cool if it
The
follows
A310
this
is an A110 that's 4-seater. Like, it's confirmed, basically.
Is that basically what it's going to be?
It's just a long wheelbase A110, yep.
I mean, there's a cool concept by the image is on Autocar. I don't know if it's by Autocar, but it's a cool concept looking image. Looks like something that looks possible as well. It's got the lights.
Nothing's even remotely close to what Alpine could look like. I just threw that together. They had that render ready. We're like, make it blow.
Well. What are the concept? What? So, first of all. Then we do some awards at the end of the year. We do the Stick Drift Awards. This year's will be the second annual Stick Drift Awards. Yeah, we're
second annual Stick Drift Awards.
Very close to the annual Stick Drift Awards. And one of those awards, probably not winning us any favors, is because we do negative awards as well. We don't just do best concept. We don't just do I'm looking at it now. We have worst cancellation and we have best cancellation as well.
Best cancellation is such a good category.
It's just BMW, Porsche Macan in best cancellation last year.
The Macan was it cancelled? The Macan?
I don't know. I mean, it must have been if we put it here. But we had worst new car. Where we got best innovation, worst brand, But
Why they just hate? They just slander towards some random brand.
well, the nominees are Citroen, Tesla, Merc, who won, and Volkswagen for Dieselgate.
What did Citroen do?
I don't
Why are they on the
remember.
list?
They must have done something, but I don't know. But yeah, I mean, we had best car gaming moment, and Ferrari and Fortnite won that.
Yeah, that wasn't even that year.
Right. We have awards at the end of the year, and one of those awards, one of my
Very,
personal
very
favorite,
prestigious award, as you can tell by the
Exactly.
categories.
It's the one time a year we both put on professional clothing as well, just to do it. But we have the goofiest concept, a near and dear to my heart award. Winner last year was the Merc Vision AVTR concept, which is that the default one they're always shilling.
Half the cars in Motorfest would count for this category now.
True, but this thing was the winner of last year. The one Merc concept they shill everywhere. Other nominees were every Tesla ever shown because they're all concepts.
That is holding true still. That is a good prediction.
One that I'll talk about later. The Volkswagen ID Life is one that
I
won.
think I remember that. I was just plot on wheels, wasn't it? No, that was that thing, yeah.
Yeah, that thing. And then the Rolls Royce vile looking thing. I'm not even gracing the screen with that monstrosity. But it appears this whole event has brought forward the nominees for next year, or at least one who's already got a nomination for next year. And that is the brand new concept Nissan GTR. This oddball of a vehicle.
Someone put the wrong settings into Blender and it just rendered wrong, and they were like, you know what, this is great.
It looks like you know what it looks like? It looks like every single body panel got inflated. It looks like it's been stung by a bee. Like a really low resolution bee. And all of the panels are just sort of inflating off of the car. It's so...
That front looks the opposite of aerodynamic. Like, all the air is just going to get caught in that big wedge shape there.
It's so... Like, it's not even, like, cyberpunk concept. It's just bad
It's
looking
just bad.
concept.
Yeah, like, there's...
So,
football wheels for some reason. I don't know why I was on it.
This from Autocar. Nissan GTR reborn as 141 brake horsepower EV with solid state battery. Solid state, but what opposed to like a hard drive battery? What does that mean?
Well, it's not like got the electrolyte from lithium ion. It'll be I forget the name of them. They're like lithium sulfate or something. Yeah.
But quoting from Carwow now, from Autocar, sorry, we want to provide choice for the customers, said Nissan CEO. We're an EV pioneer, and this is what we want to do.
Nissan?
People's expectations change, and they don't look at vehicles as before and their needs and lives. We'll hear from customers what they think about them, the concepts. This is giving a look at future plans, all concepts we'd like to deliver. The thing is, they're saying they're pioneers. They only have concepts, I swear. Nissan...
They had the Leaf.
Yeah, the Leaf, and then the rest are all concepts, right? They're
like,
all...
I can't name another electric Nissan apart from the Leaf.
No, because I remember this specifically.
Well, they have the Mirai, which is hydrogen. But...
you know why I remember this, right? Is because someone at Ivory Tower was talking about the EVs in Motorfest, and she was like, oh yeah, you'll get to see EVs from your favorite brands, Porsche, something else, Nissan. And that's when I went down the rabbit hole of being like, what EVs has Nissan made? And the answer was none. It's the Leaf, and then it was 3 really ugly concepts. I'm looking at it now.
I mean, this adds the list, so 4 now.
There you go. Araya is one. Is one I'm looking at, which is it's an SUV. It's this thing here, which seems new because these were not coming up before.
I
2023.
completely forgot they made that.
Yeah, I'm just
That does exist. I have seen one of those before.
Oh, have you? Oh no.
My brain luckily removed that image until just now. So.
But the other ones are these things. The handheld vacuum cleaner Nissan, and the really weird off-roader, and that thing. These, because I remember looking these up, being like,
that is a Rivian. That is a knockoff Rivian on the left.
I remember looking at these and being like, oh, these must be coming to Motorfest then, because she mentioned EV Nissans. What are they pioneering? I mean, maybe way back when with the Leaf, but nothing. Like, the Leaf was the first EV I heard of. The Leaf was, electric car. Oh, you want an electric car? You get a Leaf. I mean, they're the ones who gave them the frail reputation to begin with, was the Leaf. I remember Jeremy Clarkson talking specifically about the Leaf being like, what a shit car. If you get into a crash, your whole thing's crumbling. But now, they don't do anything. What do Nissan do when it comes to EVs?
Do they even make any good cars now? Like, you can't buy the GTR in the UK anymore, at least.
Nissan, I mean, I don't know what the Nissan...
Do they still sell the Micra? If not, I don't know how they're in business. So
I imagine it's all just SUVs and hatchbacks. I'm on their website, SUV, Leaf, SUV.
They still sell the Leaf.
SUV.
When was the last time you saw a Leaf? Like a new Leaf,
and it doesn't look like it used to. I don't even recognize that look of the Leaf, but looks pretty rubbish. SUV, another Leaf, SUV, load more, SUV.
Oh, the Qashqai, that sells.
Yep, SUV, Juke as well. SUV.
Duke, Leaf, Qashqai, alright, and then X-Trail are the only ones they sell in the UK.
Yep, I'm seeing just variations of those. And the Araya, yeah. But what a rubbish lineup. And now added to that lineup is a disgusting Nissan concept. Now, you guys might like this. I don't know.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
I don't know why have they chosen to make it look so bad is the question. It
must have errored in rendering, and they had to get one done in like 5 minutes before the show, and we're like, quick, throw this together.
Exactly, yeah. They just sent it. But what a monstrosity. I don't know what Nissan has become, but if this is what it is, you know what? Maybe as like a race
It looks even
car?
worse from this angle.
Yeah. Maybe just on the track it would look cool. Maybe. I don't know.
It weighs like 5 tons. Look at the size of that thing.
And yeah, it's not very aerodynamic, is it? But
a windbreak at the front.
Although this has indeed won a nomination for this year's Stick Drift Awards of Worst Concept.
It's going to be hard to beat, but yeah.
There is one car that was actually a nominee for last year's Stick Drift Awards in this very category that is now seeing massive popularity spikes because everyone's a Muppet. That is the Mazda Concept. This thing right here that everyone keeps saying is a brand new RX-7. And they're wrong. They're all Muppets. They're all buffoons. Every media article is flaunting this rubbish concept that was already a goofiest Stick Drift Award nominee. So I don't know how they managed to make it really with the bad press. But everyone keeps saying Mazda makes new RX-7. Mazda makes new RX-7. And you had a good viewpoints on this one.
Well, they've gone 1 through 8. They're not gonna call it the RX-7, are they?
Yeah.
Just pointless naming scheme then. It's not. It's just so brain dead to call this the new RX-7. It's like Audi release. I don't. What's a car company that does like?
Well, I'll say a better example, right? It's like that last GTR, right? If that releases, calling that the new R32.
Yeah.
It'd be like that. Like, it's...
That's your bias, yeah.
It's exactly like that, right? It's the exact... That's not how it works. It's not how it works.
No,
But they
no,
just
that's
want
not
the
how
clicks.
names work. But RX-7 and sale clicks.
Yeah, they just want the clicks. So it's like, oh, everyone likes the RX-7, so we'll use this thing. There wasn't even one version of the RX-7, but everyone knows that there's the FD, and everyone likes the FD, and everyone thinks it's cool, even though the FC's better. So everyone's going, Mazda, make brand new RX-7. And it makes no sense. The FD didn't even have pop-up headlights. But they'll use the RX-7 for this concept right here that we saw ages ago. There was like
There's
two
nothing
images.
RX-7 in it anyway.
Nope.
Look at it.
Not a thing. But we already saw this thing ages ago. Wait, does the RX-7 have pop-ups actually? Did I lie there? Does the FD?
FB does. I know that for sure.
I actually have not. I might have lied there. I think the FD might have pop-ups. Yeah, of course it does. Of course it does. Yeah. I don't know why.
I can't picture an FD in my head. I don't know what it looks like.
No, yeah.
Does the FC? I'd assume it does as
the
well.
The FC does. I see. I just couldn't. I couldn't picture it in my head as well. That's why I had to look it up. The FD, of course, it has pop-up headlights.
The FC looks so much worse than I thought.
This is the FD, but yeah.
Yeah,
the FD.
no, the FD. It looks so.
It's dated. People customize it, and it can look cooler. The base car, yeah.
That's rough.
But this and going from that to this, no similarity. But we saw this thing ages ago. They posted like one image from the back and one image from the front. And again, just that got it nominated for worst concept. Now it's actually been made. And it still looks just as shoddy, really. It's got the weird pop-up headlights, which I don't remember what we said, whether we liked these or not. But I feel like I'm just hating this car mood, so I'm gonna say bad.
I mean, one, they're not road legal. Two,
No, not in the slightest.
They look horribly inefficient at lighting the road.
Well, that as well, yeah.
They're about 5 nanometers big.
And then, also, if you got hit by that car, that thing is stabbing you in the lower back. Like, if you're facing away from the car and you get hit on that angle, that's cutting down your leg. Like, the most unsafe design possible for the headlights there, for such a roll-upable front.
Unless they're going to do a Mazda and they're going to, on impact, they fold in this way, like...
Oh, well, fold backwards, right?
Yeah,
okay,
so like,
yeah.
if you put any pressure on them, they can, I don't know, roll back into its skull, essentially.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, maybe, right? But that's...
I mean, this car would cost too much if they made it into production anyway, so
exactly,
it would never look
right?
like this.
That's implying this thing comes into market. I mean...
One, it's an MX-5, anyway.
So, yeah, the thing with this thing is it's just so much more an MX-5. It's that smaller build. The front of it looks like the newer, more aggressive-looking MX-5. Not that that car has any right to pretend it's aggressive, but you get what I mean, right? The jagged front, the lights, the angled lights, the even the front grille. It all looks MX-5 as opposed to anything to do with the RX-7. But obviously the RX-7 is the one with the name pull. It's the one that everyone thinks is hype. And I don't like it. I don't like the...
One, I don't think any variation of this concept will ever make it to market in the first place.
Mazda just revealed a
new
brand...
RX-7 at the time. Okay, buddy.
Exactly,
and
right?
then... It's got the... It's EV. It's an EV as well, which is... yeah. People are all like, it's an EV technically. It has... Because they released that new SUV, the CX-30, with the rotary.
Yeah.
That acted as a generator. This is the exact same concept, apart from it's a twin rotor. So it's like the engine from the RX-7, the RX-8. But it just acts as a generator.
Yeah, okay. I will say, it looks closer to that MR2 than it does the like, I'd see this against an MR2 than an RX-7. But
front engine, it's so clearly front engine. This is nothing like an MR2.
No, as in just like shape-wise, right? But I will say, if it makes it to market looking like this,
I dread to think what that'd cost.
Yeah, it'd cost way too much. It would be kind of cool though, not as an RX-7. That's what annoys me about this whole story. But
they would probably call it like
It'd be an RX-9 or an IX-9.
They would
I don't know.
RX-9. I don't.
Well, I don't even think it'd be RX. I think it'd be MX, if anything. MX-6. There you go. Done.
They would want rotary experimental in the name. They would keep the RX. I just don't think it'd be the RX-9.
Oh, okay. Would it? Is that what? I didn't know that's what RX even standed for. But there you go. You know, you learn something every day. What is experimental?
I have no idea what MX stands for, but yeah, I think that's just regular Mazda naming.
I don't know. Miata experimental. I don't know.
What's the CX stand for? Like,
who knows?
Car
experimental. Yeah. But this thing, it'd be cool if it came to market. It'd probably cost too much, but if it didn't and it came to market, it'd actually be kind of cool. But everyone stop calling it an RX-7, please, and thank you. Next on the list, we've got
RX Roadster. I think is probably what they'd call it. To be fair,
that'd be kind of cool.
RX Coupe.
Sure, right? That'd be all right. That'd be so.
Because I feel like if it's EV, I don't think that people would let them call an RX lineage car EV. I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But going from concept cars to cars that aren't conceptual, these cars are making it to market because that's just what these cars are. These next two cars, one has returned from the dead, and one should maybe find itself at that point without the returning bit. But that's an aggressive thing to say towards a car. But these two cars have now made their return debut. The first one, we mourned. We did a whole episode about how the Audi TT and the Audi R8 were both being canned. Both were finishing up. They got their last models, the TT ones, and I think they just had, like, canards and, like, simple stuff around them.
It was just a very, very small facelift, yeah, like a slightly different front bumper, and that was it.
And the Audi R8 was already way too expensive of a car, really, than
what it cost before.
The old ones, what might not, but the newer ones.
They're like 158, and for what they were, that's not too bad, really.
That is, I suppose. I mean, what? It's like that or a Lambo, right? Fitting for this topic, I suppose.
I mean, it was Aventador? Was it Aventador or Huracan? I can't remember which one's which.
I think I want to say Huracan, but I might be wrong there.
It was an Audi rebadge of one of those with a different body on it.
But that thing got a send-off. It got a grand old boohoo R8 gone, no more fast car. It was around the E-Type, got nuked as well. So everyone's just losing their one and only sporty car. But that's not the case, because they've pulled a Marvel. No one's really ever dead. And instead, we've gotten one last new Audi R8. I do
dread to think what this is going to cost.
This is from Autocar. The final Audi R8 is set to be a road-going GT3 track car that will become the most hardcore road-legal Audi yet. But then someone's called it out where they've said it's actually a road-going GT2 spec rather than a GT3, but because this is what the GT2 looks like compared to this thing. Fair.
Road behind one looks better.
But let me look through the article.
I mean, there's nothing left of the original R8 in there. Like maybe the lights. It's a completely different car apart from that, basically.
But I will say though,
and they're only making 100 of these, so they're going to cost what the normal one's 150.
This will be, I want to say 300?
This is going to be 300 minimum.
Yeah.
Probably 350, 400.
The V10, this is from Autocar. The V10 badging worn by this prototype suggests it will use a variation of the most powerful Audi R8 powertrain, a 5.2-litre unit working via a 7-speed DSG transmission. 4-wheel drive. Standard car pack, 525 brake horsepower. GT3 racer ramps, whatever those mean, and a bunch of other horsepower. 0 to 62 of 3 seconds. Seems slow, if I should say so myself. I could do quicker than that on my bicycle.
Clio's quicker than that. Yeah, well, No point getting one of these.
I will say though, I like its existence. I like the fact that it's
Best looking R8 by far.
Yeah,
like,
right.
By far.
Like the fact that it's doing a backflip on the grave of the R8 and pulling a Michael Jackson and just returning, right? It's just coming out from the grave of the R8. Goofy. The R8 should have ended when it ended. But
This is a much better send-off.
Yeah, true. But I like that it's following this trend that we've seen with the Mustang GTD of being a road version of a race car. So like the GT3, it's now a road version of the GT3. The GTD, what terrible the GT, sort it off. I don't want to have to name 50 cars and everyone have to clarify what GT I mean. But the GTD was also a road version of a Mustang racing car. A very cool way of doing that. Someone actually in my quote tweets was like, hey, bring back this kind of all new, forgotten old, bring back more homologations. And there's this thing, which
everyone made homologations back in the day because you had to. Peugeot had the Peugeot 206 GTI Rally. Like, even Vauxhall made rally homologations. You had the MG Metro 6R4. Like, yeah, so everyone had to make homologate. For a British touring car up until, like, 06, you had to make road-going versions. But brands complain because it cost them money.
Screw the brands, then. But what I do like is that these aren't just, like, I mean, maybe they are, right? But, like, these feel so much more intentful, right? So it's not just, like, how there's a Camaro ZL1 in the NASCAR, but if you buy a base Camaro ZL1, it's not like the NASCAR one. The GTD and this R8, I like because you'll be driving that, and it feels like you're in something that is reminiscent of the GT3.
This is what homologation was meant to be. It was meant to allow the general public to buy the cars that were racing.
Well, there you go, right?
Like, but it just costs too much money.
Yeah.
Like, Audi can afford to do it because they've got like $8 gazillion billion.
Same with Ford.
Ford I mean, Ford will probably make their money back on these. They're what, like 500 grand.
So. True. But it's a cool trend that I want to see return. I mean, before it was forced, hopefully now that it's more lenient, we see the inverse where now companies get into it.
It's the complete opposite.
The
second it wasn't a requirement, everyone dropped it. Oh. Vauxhall are never going to make another homologation.
No, I mean, I get that, right? No, but what I mean is now that the dust has long since settled, and now that, Porsche has been doing it for a fair bit with GT2 and whatever, now Mustang has done it.
No one buys them.
Now Audi has done it. Now I'm hoping, now that the dust has long since settled, the ball starts rolling a little, I'm hoping the ball... Now it's a natural roll rather than a forced roll, right?
Imagine the BMW 330i British Touring Car Edition. Like, it'd be such a stupid spec.
330i. Let me see this.
I think it's the 330i they race. It makes sense. It's the M330i, 330i M Sport,
M140. It does look rather
mundane.
No, it does look.
It's the.
What?
Yeah.
If it was like a proper racing car version that actually had the... Okay, no, see, bad example, because the racing version of the 330i is just the 330i with a spoiler. So...
I mean, if you search any, just British Touring Car, like a British Touring Car Edition, like Ford Focus would go kind of hard.
Yeah.
But they're discontinuing the Focus, so I guess it wouldn't go kind of hard. But...
I like the idea of what's happening here with this, where car companies are making racing cars for the road. Like, there's even some.
They're not making them for fun. They're making them for profit. Like, these will cost hundreds of thousands of pounds.
I mean, that's the thing, though, right? So, I like seeing that now it's a natural increase is the thing. Like, now I like that it's now a natural, like, okay, these sell, then some more companies will do it, and those sell, and then some more companies do it, right? That's the cool thing. That before they were forced, and they'd end up super rare because no one actually bought them and their race specs or whatever. Like that one M3 that they made just to cheat.
All of these are going to be super rare.
Yeah, yeah.
They're making 100 of these Audis. They're going to make sub 300 the GTD, I guarantee it.
I mean, like, I admit, they're not cars for me or you. They're not cars for the general public to buy. I like their existence, though, as road version racing cars. But there is this Audi that got unveiled, or spotted, or whatever. And it's pretty cool. But that whole news sort of soured with a brand new look at a spotted while spotted. Now, I wasn't expecting this. I don't know if we talked about this, because I don't remember. I know of the Urus being revamped. I know that the Aventador just got revamped. But what I was yet to find out was that the Huracan was getting revamped.
That's meant to be a Huracan.
I think so. What else would it be? It's got that flat nose that the Huracan has. I mean, what else would it be?
It just looks like a Lamborghini.png from the front. It's about every other one.
The only Lamborghini that I know currently that slopes down like that is the Huracan, right? From the back, it's just a Revuelto again. But then from the front, it's a Huracan. And it looks so strange for that. Yes, surprise, surprise, we're getting a brand new Lamborghini right after the Lanzador, right after the Revuelto, another brand new Lamborghini.
They are pumping these out at the minute.
Yeah. It's currently been spotted while spotted, with the full livery on to hide its curvature, but Auto Evolution have done a render based on it, just to get a gauge on what it might look like. And it looks flat. And ugly. Okay, the front looks flat, the back looks ugly.
It just doesn't look cool. It's just so bland and boring.
I'm hoping it's a Revuelto thing where it looks cooler when it's actually unveiled, but the back has got the middle exhaust again.
I think it's the rate at which they're pumping these out. Like, it's another Lamborghini. Ooh.
They don't.
That's just an amalgamation of 3 or 4 previous models that sort of looks just okay. It's not. It has no flair to it. It's
like the Revuelto.
Lamborghini as a brand have lost all flair they had. Like, they don't make. Like, you can't get excited for this.
Yeah.
Because it's just every other Lamborghini.
The thing is, I could see the Revuelto getting to that point. I could see that thing maybe getting there eventually. It's got the new headlight design from the Trezor concept. It's got it's the first to have that rear exhaust. It's an Aventador replacement, right? That thing I could understand being big eventually. Lanzador, hard miss. Hard miss. But this thing is a mixture of both. Originally, I was like, no, the front will look like the Revuelto, because that's what they're doing now. But it's not going to be that, which I realized, because instead, it's the front of the Lanzador. This car is just going to be a Huracan Lanzador, which, if you look at it, there's the headlights of the Lanzador. It's got the same, like, I don't know what you'd call that, but that thing that goes inwards on the front, and you can see, it's got that. It's got the thin Lanzador lights. It slopes in more than the Lanzador, and then at the back, it's just the Revuelto. They're just... Yeah.
It's such a nothing car.
Yeah.
It's going to cost too much money.
It'll replace
and they're
the
going to sell
I
too
guess.
many of them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it'll replace the Huracan, and that'll be interesting. A world with no Huracan. We'll get it in the Crew Crew Motorfest as well, because they're in bed with Lamborghini now, I guess. Baffling to me, truly, that they didn't end up going with a Bugatti on the cover, given the state of Motorfest.
That'd be too obvious. That's the allegations would start.
Exactly. Instead, they're in bed with Lamborghini, which, no surprise, the Revuelto is one of the best in the game. So we're gonna have to see this thing. I want to say it was pretty quick from spotted while spotted to reveal for the Revuelto. I don't remember that thing taking too long. I
mean, this looks ready. This is a production car. Next summer, I reckon.
Next summer?
Next
That's
spring.
way longer than I thought. I was thinking maybe...
They're not going to release it midwinter, are they?
I mean, yeah, I guess. I don't know, like March.
Happy Christmas, new Lamborghini that you're just not going to drive in the ice.
Buy it
Congrats.
for Christmas. Woo! Well, then again, the Revuelto's out, and that's a Well, the Revuelto's revealed, and that's a 2024 car, right? Like, you can't actually... Oh, wait, no. Stradman got his delivery. No, it isn't.
Like, they do that thing where it's like, oh, it's a 2024 car. Unless we like you.
Yeah.
And then we'll send you one early.
Because I was going to say, yeah, because Stradman's already got his and got that bright yellow.
I've seen a few of them about on the internet. They do... Yeah.
Okay, so they are kind of out. This thing, yeah, I imagine we will see this thing well before midway next year, is my prediction. But that's the new...
I don't want to see it. I hope there's none near me.
But that's the new Lamborghini Aventador. Then, I suppose, it's a little thing, but it's kind of funny. Bugatti Das is what we've got. We have goddamn Bugatti Das, which I should have made that joke before. Bugatti, big brand that they are making a collaboration with Adidas. And it's just
gonna be a line of clothes, I imagine.
Oh, do you reckon? I thought it was gonna be an actual one-off Chiron.
Well, they're not gonna make an Adidas shoe an IRL car, are they? So...
Well, I thought it would be like Chiron. What was that last Chiron one-off that I really liked?
One-off, yeah. They put a spoiler on it or something, didn't they?
No, that one was bad. That one I will admit.
Was this one
bad.
a different rediffuser?
No, this one was a livery. Is the one that I liked. A livery and some rims.
Mad.
This thing is so sick. Look, it's got old school Bugattis.
Like, at what point is scratching you can't make it a one-off?
You know what? I would want. This thing is sick. This thing is so sick. I forgot what it was even called. It was Bugatti's Heritage. Woo! It was so. This thing's cool, okay? And I'm not letting you take away my fun. All right, banging looking car. I like the brass color. I like the design on it. It's got old Bugattis on the one side and new Bugattis on the other side. It's black at the front and the rims are mismatched because of the back of the front. I want this thing in a video game and I want it now. But
this one's even beyond Ivory Tower, I think. This is just a livery. Like, this is...
But I thought we would be getting a Bugatti Das,
I highly doubt it.
But yeah, now that I really think about it, that'd be way too much money to spend on a clothing collaboration.
Adidas are just going to sell some Bugatti shoes and some Bugatti... Yeah.
I imagine it'll be a t-shirt with this on the t-shirt, right? The whatever, the what is it called? Sketch. Yeah, the concept sketch of this. But then again, you say that. We did also see this image alongside that image, which is the image of the back of a Bugatti. Or the Bugatti Das edition is what my theory is. I think if it is, it'll probably just be a livery. Bearing in mind, it will probably just be a livery.
If it is just a livery, it is not being called a one-off. It is a base Chiron with stickers on it.
I don't remember if this one was labeled a one-off. That might just be me. But, oh no, yeah, new one-off Bugatti Chiron. Yeah, okay, yeah. No.
One-off. Renault are accidentally going to put a sticker on one of the Clios to send out and be like, ultra rare, one-off.
The rims are different.
Got a sticker on it.
The rims. Have you seen the
They're
rims?
They're just painted.
Modern era of Bugatti as a node on the 16-cylinder engine. Bugatti has, for the last... Okay, no, I don't actually see anything differentiating it.
No, there's nothing different. It's just got a livery on it, and they're calling it a one-off because they think it's special.
3.2 mil. Happens to maybe cost a pretty penny. I mean, it's got images of the EB110, Veyron, Chiron, Type 57 SC, Type 41, and the Type 35. Think about it.
I better get all those cars on the images as well for this price. Like,
yeah. It took them 400 hours to create. Are you happy putting that 400 hours to shame.
It did not take him 400 hours.
It's decorated with a hand-drawn mural featuring 45 historic models, which took more than 400 hours to create. This is the Bugatti of the century.
Hand-drawn murals, yeah, okay.
It's got a W16 engine. I don't even know what that means.
Whoa! It's not like every other Chiron I ever made. What?
Whatever, right? This thing's sick. And the
this
Bugatti
one's even more generic. It's just the blue and the carbon fiber. It's not even painted.
Well, we haven't seen this one yet, all right? Maybe
What if it's just got stripes on it, like the Adidas stripes? In the bin. Actually, straight in the bin.
Well, I guess we'll have to see, and we'll talk about it on the podcast when they drop the Bugatti Das. But that concludes the news on this week's episode of the Stick Drift podcast. I mean, there was a smaller thing about a Ferrari 296
It's
challenge.
just a track version of the Ferrari. They all look the same these days. I don't know what one it is.
Yeah, it's not even like a GTD or anything. It is just the track version, right?
I mean, that is what the GCD is. This is like the Challenge Ferrari or GT3 spec.
This one's not road legal for the road, is it?
Is it not? I don't know.
Maybe? I don't know. Ditching the road car's hybrid powertrain. So, yeah. Well, considering the interior for this thing looks like this, I would assume it's not road
You haven't
legal.
seen an MG6R4.
Oh, sure. All right. Okay.
Like, you actually just sat in the engine in that thing. Like, there's just an engine behind you. No wall or anything. You just...
But that's basically everything in the main sections of the Stick Drift podcast. But then we go on to the gaming section.
Oh, it's not even meant to be like a race car you can buy. It actually just is their new race car for a race series.
Yeah, so it was a pointless news
They
story.
drop it like it's a new actual car. Like that.
Right. But on that note, we can go over to the final sections of the Stick Drift podcast, the moments where we talk about what's happened in the world of car games as well as motorsports. And we begin with the gaming segment, where there has been one big update revealed and one big update leaked. Which obviously I'm not really going to talk about, but I'll talk about it tangentially. I suppose let's begin with the leak. So, we have the Motorfest. The Crew Motorfest gets monthly updates, technically, not really. Monthly main stage where I
get monthly updates. Not even technically. What do you mean?
You get 2 cars, and there's a new main stage.
Is there an update? Is there an update?
Well,
is there an update? No, that definition, no update. I'm not having it. I'm not having you claim a main stage is an update.
2 new cars. If you consider 2 new cars, you haven't considered that. Is there an update? Okay, what?
You don't consider drip-fed cars in GTA an update?
No, that's fair.
So why would you count drip-fed cars in Motorfest?
I retract the statement.
Thank you.
Every 3 months, we get updates in the Crew Motorfest. And the first update is Hoonigan. Now, I talk about this not to talk about the update in any way, but instead to talk about how the biggest leaker in the Crew Motorfest and the Crew 2 has finally been suspended from tweeting. Now, he was able to get away with a lot of it before, because the same reason you can in many games. There's a legality where if it's in the files, you can't legally do anything. If it's in I imagine it's a dated thing, because I imagine if it used to be like, if it's on the disc, right, then it doesn't matter. You can post it.
Technically, if it's on the public release version of the game,
yeah,
it is public info, surely.
Exactly,
it's
right?
In the public domain, basically.
Even if it's encrypted inside of the files or whatever, if it's able to be gotten out, you cannot legally DMCA or take down for copyright or take down for content that shouldn't be shown in any way if it's on the files. But sometimes this account, which I'm not going to say by name just to not draw attention to it in any way, this account would skirt that line very, very close. He would post the information rather than images. And then sometimes he would just post the images. Most of the time. Sometimes. Yeah. after he did get hit by actual DMCAs, because some of the stuff he was posting wasn't in the files, he would wait till the updates come out, and then technically it was. But he had been doing this for, I want to say, upwards of 2 years since I've been making videos.
I think over 2 years, yeah.
Because the
a very long time.
Yeah, the agency was the first one I saw about, and that was ages ago. And he's been doing it since then, and he's still been able to go and go and go and go until now. Finally, the first ever post-launch Motorfest update, and he got nuked. Presumably by Ubisoft.
I think it's because they know nobody has cracked the encryption yet. Yeah. So they like know with enough certainty that they can just get rid of him at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're talking about mining the files, right? So
yeah.
Scanning through the files.
Because allegedly the Crew Motorfest ones are encrypted. And the Crew 2s weren't.
Yeah. So like you and if it's in the files, you can't be taken down for that, right? You might have a bad relationship with Ubisoft, but like you cannot be taken down for showing stuff that's in the files, but you can if it isn't. And seeming as Motorfest is a brand new game with brand new encryption, no one's gotten anything in the files yet. But what I thought, now I didn't see his posts about the update beforehand. I saw one image that was just the information and disregarded it, but I didn't see him post any cars. So...
Posted a car list.
Yeah, he posted a car list, but he never posted any cars. And what's even more poignant to me is this isn't suspended via DMCA for Ubisoft or whatever. It's suspended for violating Twitter's rules. So, I'm fairly certain...
You might have said some slurs in DMs or something. I don't know.
Maybe. Instead of actually posting leaks or whatever... I think what's happened is Ubisoft have gone to Twitter and been like, hey, surely you can do something here. And they've taken him down via outside rules. I imagine Twitter has some rules for breaking NDAs, right? Or like...
Discord does, so Twitter would, I'd imagine. I'd like to hope.
Yeah, even if it's not you who signed the NDA, I imagine there's law... against NDA'd content, which, of course, this account was very much in violation of.
The entire account.
Yeah. So, I will say, though, most people are like, oh, good thing. Some people are like, oh, bad thing. Some people are like, oh, this was how I found out about the updates and whatnot. My take, all in all, good thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, it's very unfortunate that from the masses this was taking away any kind of hype. You know, people see every single car that's going to come out for the next 4 months, they see it, and then they're surprised when they're not surprised. Like, I used to make posts about this, because it would just, people would look through all the leaks, and then when going through the update, be like, damn, there's nothing else other than all the cars I looked at through leaks before the update? What?
Yeah.
So, not only would it ruin any kind of hype, not only would it burn people out before the updates even began, it would ruin surprise drops that they used to do in the Crew 2, where the Alfieri, they started doing them very later on, massive surprise drops all the time. Those were gone. All of the hype on everything gone because of leaks. And now, he can't leak anymore. Unless he comes back. I mean, it's only suspended.
I also think he was very well connected.
Yeah.
Because he had more info. Like, it's when the Crew 2 was out. He had more than what was in the files.
Yeah.
He knew when stuff was coming out, which isn't in the files. He knew stuff that...
Yeah.
I don't really know how he got hold of that information.
I mean, eventually it comes to a point where, like, you know, he gets the reputation of being a crew leaker. I imagine it's a Tom Anderson thing, right? He got the reputation of being a crew leaker.
Someone at Ivory Tower gave him some information at some point.
Exactly. And then eventually, I imagine someone at Ivory Tower, right? Like, that's what happened.
He had, allegedly, before Motorfest came out, images of Orlando that weren't in the Orlando leak.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I did see some of those, and they did exist, and they were real.
Yeah.
After Motorfest came out, I think yeah. So someone at Ivory Tower did give him images of Motorfest before it came out.
Yep. Yep. So he was already in a place to have this kind of material. He was already. I don't know if this happens in any other gaming. Any other, like, I don't know, Apex leakers or something? Have they ever had something like this? They must have, right?
I think EA would probably publicly execute Respawn devs if they were given out information like that.
Yeah, so
I mean, anything Apex related is in the files anyway.
Exactly, I mean, that's the issue with Apex. So yeah, this guy's gone, he's been nuked, and the Hoonigan update lives on to be a surprise once more. Oh well though, one update that is a bit less of a surprise, and instead is actually an announced update, is the Gran Turismo update. Gran Turismo
Ooh.
got a big new image showing that they were having a much bigger update than they were going to have before. And instead now, I believe they're adding even a new Tesla, which is a surprise. It's always good to see Tesla, you know, in games to any degree. So, look, as much as Tesla suck, as much as I despise Tesla, it would be cool to have more of them in video games, right? Just to toss them in a lake. But we got this image right here of the Gran Turismo update with a bunch of cars, and that car list reading the Lexus LFA. People really like that thing. I didn't know that wasn't in the game already. The Porsche 911 GT3R, Dodge Challenger SRT Demon. I think that's just like a random 2018 one, or it's just like some rubbish generic Dodge. A 69 Dodge Charger, a Nissan GTR Nismo 400R, which I don't really know what that is, and a Tesla Model 3, which I might actually go on to go get. Let me check what the...
You'd have to buy the game first.
Yeah, there's buying the game, and then the issue is I'd have to grind to get the car, right? Like, I couldn't just yoink the car out of nowhere. Oh, this Nissan's kind of cool. The Nissan's kind of cool. It's like a bulky looking, whichever one it is, I imagine. It's R32, 3, something like that. This thing's pretty cool looking. I like it.
One of them.
Yeah, but I will say, it's one of the cooler looking older GTRs that I've seen. I'd say I would argue, that might be my new favorite, whatever generation or whatever GTR.
It looks slightly deformed with the eyes, but yeah.
I think it looks kind of cool. But, yeah, that thing, Tesla Model 3. The thing with Tesla is I don't get why they're only in Gran Turismo, right? Like, Toyota...
Money.
I imagine, right? Toyota had some vague reasons way back when. And, I mean, Tesla's already weird with a bunch of stuff. Like, look, like they don't like Top Gear or whatever as well. But I don't understand why Tesla isn't in more video games. I don't understand why they're not, apart from that one time, in Forza. Or I get why they're not in Need for Speed.
Imagine Tesla in Need for Speed. Imagine the most raced Model 3 you've ever seen.
You know, I'm surprised they're not in Motorfest. Or, well, I forget. I guess they'd be in Forza before they're in Motorfest. But I don't get why they're not in either. They're not in enough games other than just Gran Turismo. Do they even have, like, racing versions? As far as I'm aware, they only have, like, one generic Tesla in Gran Turismo.
They have... No. I don't really follow Tesla, so I don't know. They do stuff. They do make cars.
I heard, like, one generic one. But I'm probably gonna maybe get Gran Turismo to check this update out.
You're gonna have to get on the grind. It comes out Thursday.
Yeah, it comes out Thursday. And see, then I'm like, oh, well, we get the new main stage, not update. Just, we get a next crew main stage change.
There we go.
And then... I'm
saving you from the comment section because the comments aren't gonna have you calling that an update.
But then, you know, it's sucky. It's still sucky that we get the main stage and then this thing, and then I'm like, why even bother if I'm gonna be doing videos on the new main stage? But maybe a Tesla is hype enough, you know, because I could do like
it's really not.
I could do like a 2-part. Well, it will be if I just title it "They Added a Tesla," you know. So like, and
Yeah, no, yeah, I would. Yeah.
And then I can play the Gran Turismo and get the car and be like, whoa, Tesla, and then see if anyone actually wants to watch Gran Turismo. But again, I'd have to play Gran Turismo. Is the issue?
You have to pay 50 quid for the privilege.
Yeah. Shoddy behavior. Shoddy behavior. But if the trailer that comes out, I think Wednesday is what was said, if it's longer than like 30 seconds, there might actually be some cool stuff in the update rather than just all these cars. Which I don't think
do cars in like a track.
Yeah, but apparently it might be more if it's whatever. I don't think they're adding 6 cars and nothing else. So
they might be adding this many cars to compensate for nothing else.
Maybe. But I believe that's everything going on in the world of whatever.
I mean, Car X Street ain't coming to PC. Yeah, I can tell you that. That's still not happening.
People playing the new Japanese
Hot
Drift
Wheels
Masters.
Unleashed 2 came out. That's the thing that happened.
Yeah! Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 came out.
Milestone make that, as far as I'm aware. They've been screwed by whoever's publishing that.
And it flopped so hard.
Well, I mean, there was no advertising.
Mm.
It was screwed by... Who was the publisher?
So, no one advertised
Milestone,
it.
never mind. I take that back. Milestone have shot themselves in the foot with this one.
Well, it released right around what? Like, Starfield and Spider-Man 2? So no one was caring about anything else.